Welcome to the Offsite Dirt Network. We're here to create trust, connection, and collaboration across the offsite construction industry, bringing together leaders, builders, and innovators shaping what's next. Through real stories, expert insights, and lived experiences, we're building a more connected future together.
This video is brought to you by Mandeville Modular.
10-year anniversary for Advancing Prefab, and we are here with the queen of prefab, Amy Marks. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to see you.
I'm so glad too. I feel like this is our initiation. I've been here for the last 5 years, and what you have done is extraordinary with bringing these communities together and working on this platform.
I mean, we met here actually for the first time ever. I'll never forget that. So it was fantastic.
So we're talking about ecosystems this year. Tell us a little bit more about that whole story and how it came about.
I think, we've moved past kit of parts and we've moved past just componentized, coming up with productization and the best products you can optimize. And we have to go into more of a systems thinking approach and think about that skid, that rack, that whatever, that riser is part of a system. And so once you can optimize the system, even if you're not making the whole system, we think about, systems on systems like the electrical systems and the structural systems. And then we really think about sub-ecosystems of partner networks.
Yes.
And I think that's super important that we're seeing now more of the, groups working together, working with similar owners and making sure that you've got certified installers, things like that, where you're repeatedly working with the same groups. And then really, from the owner's ecosystem of not just getting good at making pieces and parts, but making sure that you're mature. I think you heard me talk about the ICG, ICMA assessment.
Yeah, explain that, because that was new. Actually, when you said that, I was like, oh, I want to write that down.
Okay, great. So ICG is a group that started the Industrialized Construction Maturity Assessment, and you can go and get assessed. And I like to equate it to something like, almost like LEED certification, and you get a medallion. Our medallion is platinum. We're in the very rare era of platinum as an owner. We're the first owner to go and get our assessment done.
That's
because we know that it's important from an ecosystem perspective that the owners are driving a lot of the innovation, a lot of what's happening. So we were the first owner to raise our hands and say we want to be assessed. We had no idea what we would get. We got a platinum, and I think we still have things we want to continually improve. But it's really important that we think about the owner's ecosystem is not just about, are you good at buying and making pieces and parts, but do you have the right business models, the right strategy, the right leadership, every part of our business has to be ready for prefab. And then all the way to market ecosystems. So really what are we influencing in this space? When we do these things, can we then fix, once we work on data centers, we get a lot of scale, and then they can start bringing some of those products to manufacturing, all the way down to, semiconductor, and then things like housing. So I'm a big believer that it's top down, not bottom up, that we're going to fix housing. A big fan of housing. I just don't work on housing, but I think again, these complicated projects that create scale and great ecosystems, sub-ecosystems, drip down into the housing crisis. And I think that's how we really solve housing at the end.
And I like how you had the pyramid and you had all the different levels when you were sharing with people, because there's people that are starting with one component or starting at that process, right? But now we have to start evolving, and we have to start knowing that there's a bigger picture. And I think the one thing I really loved about your conversation, Amy, today, which was spectacular, is the win-win. And it's not just the win-win, like the partner, you're going to win or I'm going to write the check. It really is a collaboration. Could you talk a little bit further about that for you being in your role now with Compass?
Yes, I'm focused on innovation and sustainability there. So it is a win-win all the time. We're thinking about doing the right business move so that it's a lot of the outputs are just happen to be great sustainability, great business, for everybody. So we make the right business decision, we make lives better, and then the outcomes happen to be better for everybody. But I think in reality, that win-win that we're talking about is more about our behaviors. How do we treat each other with respect? How do we have trust in our partnerships? How do we have transparency? How do we know it's failure on the path to success? Not everything's going to be perfect. And so we're buying differently. We're buying by enterprise contracts with, megawatts per month. We're not buying just a piece part in this. And we know we're married, so with these partners, and therefore, it's failure on the path to success. So we're really evolving the product lines, and the systems integration is working with different partners together and those sub-ecosystems to really elevate and optimize the whole solution.
And so you keep utilizing those partners, right? Because those partners understand you. They understand the process. They understand how it's all evolving and coming together. How do you guys choose your partners?
It's like, how do you get married? How do you pick a husband? How do you pick a wife? How do you pick a partner? So it's literally the same. We start with the C-level executive relationship to make sure that the cultures really match. It's not just pick up the phone factor. It's like, what's going to happen when you reach out to each other? It's transparency. It's about trust. It's about figuring out how to make everybody win and how do we make things easier for each other. Recognizing there's going to be failures when you start working together. And we want to make sure that everybody recognizes they shouldn't hide failures. We should be transparent. There's a lot of known unknowns when you start working with groups that we're open to discussing. There's different business models. There's different ways you work with partners. And I think there's just a lot of scale in what we're doing. So at the end of the day, culture is probably paramount number one. We want to make sure that our partners have an understanding of level loaded production so that they're not like busy 11 months and dead for a month. We want to make sure that they're okay because you make the right decision for your best customer. That's what, Chris said it today. You're not going to piss off your best customer. And so we want to be people's best customer where they make the most money, where we also have the lowest total cost of ownership. And that's proven. We treat people well, they make more money, we are faster, and we have the lowest total cost of ownership. That is a real win-win. That's how win-win happens.
And you're in such an innovative technology, right? That's always evolving. There's so much going on like every day of every minute. It's a constant. So knowing that you had a trusted advisor, a trusted partner in that relationship and being able to bring that into the project, I can only imagine how, again, we know it's construction. We know that there's going to be things that are going to happen. Not everything goes as planned. But to be able to help and work with people that are on that same playing field with you and to know that they're okay with it.
There's a psychological safety to partnerships that I think is underrated. That psychological safety means everything to our partners, where they can talk about challenges openly. They can be transparent about that. And I think, it's really a matter of being more like manufacturing now. So we are thinking this is like we manufacture megawatts and our partners help us manufacture megawatts. So I think that's important. It's a little bit, things do happen, but the more we work with each other, the better our products get, the better the process becomes, the learning follows through from in the full portfolio. Everybody really does win.
10 years.
I
Can you believe
know.
it?
I'm feeling a little gray. But yeah, I think 10 years, if I think back when originally this show started, I mean, there were like 200 mechanical, electrical, plumbing contractors here. And now we're talking about every big owner in the world has been here. All the architects, all the engineers, every fabricator in the planet, all the big GCs. I mean, they come in droves. And so I think it's been a big decade for prefabrication. It's definitely normalized. I think we're seeing more and more prefabrication components across many different types of parts of the buildings and in the industry. So we don't really have to have the same conversations we used to have. Is it to prefab or not prefab? We just do now.
We're doing it,
Yeah,
right? It's just here. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
It's a regular conversation. And I love that now we're really focusing on the people and the relationships and the collaboration. Gosh, why weren't we doing that before? Or were we?
I think so. I think when that was sort of the intention of, I think, the Lean Construction Institute, bringing the lean manufacturing movement over to construction. Yeah. It does focus a lot on the people element and I think servant leadership and, culturally respect for others and things like that. But I do think it has to translate into the changing of the business models. You just can't be like nice. It's not about being collaborative and just nice. Like that means you got to change the way you do business. And that means different contracts, different ways of working, different relationship building, just different execution strategies. And I think that's the difference, right? It's not just about being nice. It's about being productive and being transparent and being, the best partner you can be.
And I love the way that you were saying that maybe there's somebody that does something just a little bit better. So we need to pick up that person, right? Or that company in order to be successful on our projects. So one last thing, now that you've been here for 10 years, Amy, and you've really grown this, and I think I have to compliment you because when I come and see Amy at her keynote, the wonderful thing about her is that she's made all these amazing relationships, and she not only acknowledges the people with their names and know who they are in their businesses, but she's also making people think, and to say that meet 5 new people is such a funny thing that we have to tell people here. But it's real and it's true, right? It's like one small thing that we can do to help our businesses meet 5 people.
And take one action item from the conference. Like sometimes we're overwhelmed. There's so many new people here every year. It's shocking to me. But you got to meet 5 new people. People want to meet people here and they want to do business with people that are like-minded here. So I think this is where business has always gotten done in our space. It's where it will continue to get done in our space. If you're not at this conference, I think, you've missed out. And new things are happening every year. So I think, you're going to see a different conference probably in the next 10 years, like as we evolve the conference itself. And I think you'll see new speakers, new topics, new formats coming up. I don't want to give you any hints yet, but I think new formats are important and just refreshing things. And it's going to be a great decade coming up. And
I see a lot of new formats with this one. I feel like there's more time to network. I feel like breakfast hours a lot more stimulating. People are actually having conversations when I walked out on the exhibit floor, and I love that we're doing some happy hours for people to connect. Yeah, I think we need to do that because it is great to learn from the leaders and the innovators and to hear about the challenges and success stories.
Yep.
But we're here to network too.
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm leading Data Center Day on Thursday with Bill Kleiman.
Woo!
Like, how cool is that? Bill Kleiman's coming over to like do Data Center Day
That's
with
so
us.
cool.
Jenny Hahn is doing healthcare. We're gonna try to beat her on attendance again. We have a running joke of who's gonna have more people. But I think the industry day at the end is fantastic. The executive day in the first day is always great. The tours are great. But I do think some of the formats are changing to be a little bit more interactive. People have a choice where they want to spend their money and where they're going for conferences and stuff. And again, like, this is a labor of love for me. I'm not making a dime on whether you come or not. I think it's just the learning and the business and the access to people is what we really want here for people to learn, where they can find all the great partners and all the great products that are out there.
So if you're not here at Advancing Prefab, make sure to put it on your calendar for next year, and you'll be able to see this amazing lady that's leading our industry forward in so many different verticals. Thank you for being here and making time for us.
Thank you for having me. I always love coming back and seeing where we met and reminiscing with you. It's great.
Thank you. And that's the dirt on Offsite Dirt. Thank you for being a part of Offsite Dirt Network. If you believe in building with trust, connection, and collaboration, you're in the right place. Explore more stories, insights, and expert voices at offsitedirtnetwork.com and stay connected to what's next in offsite construction.